Y'all losers just thought we were done with the planter, didn't you?
So did I.
So did Robert. I'm just kidding. I don't think y'all are losers. I'm just teasing. Right now we are installing Precision Planter Solutions parallel arms and bushing kits. And these are some beefy and robust arms. Let's go get an old arm and compare them. Well, there might not be as much difference as I thought they was. We'd have to get the micrometer to tell for sure, but these arms, let's see if we can do it like that right there. I don't know, these look a lot beefier for some reason. They may not be. All right, right here's the old parallel arms. Right here is a bushing. I'm not sure that it's the specific bushing that come out of it, but y'all see that? Some are a lot worse than others. I'm trying to find y'all a bad one. I knew the old bushings was wore in the planter, and I knew we had some slack, but I really didn't think it was as bad as what it was until we had a visitor on the phone. Eric Reed, the crop critic, come up here and spent a whole day with us. We went and looked at some fields. We done some digging. We looked the planter over good. You know, we've done a lot of work to this old planter, but sometimes it helps to have a fresh set of eyes on it that's just seeing it for the first time. A fresh set of eyes can catch things that you don't sometimes. Let's see here, let's grab this. Y'all see that right there? That's no count at all. Come over here and wiggle it, Roberts. Here, you can really tell it down here at the bottom. Here we go, right here in the top. All right, watch that arm. See it move back and forth on that bolt. One problem is with John Deere, the dang bushings was harder than your arm. Instead of wearing on the bushing, it wears on the arms. And that's where this Precision Planter Solutions gauge wheel or parallel arm kit comes in. All right, Robert, grab that old unit right there and move it. What's wrong? Why can't you move it?
Sweep up Precision Planter Solutions and this bushing kit on it.
But I will say this. I kind of chuckled a little bit at you, Eric, because Eric thought he was going to come up here and tear our old planter to shreds. This was his exact words. He said, a 40-year-old planter, he said, I thought that it was going to be wore slap dab out. He said it's the tightest 40-year-old planter he'd ever seen. And now it's even tighter. So, guys, you don't got to go out and buy the newest and best planter to do things. The sky's the limit on rebuilding a planter. You can take an old planter and make it do anything a new one does if you're willing to spend the money. You'll probably come out better in the long run buying a used planter and putting the new parts on it. Now, I mean, there comes to a point, your frame's eventually going to wear out, but y'all know Robert and I, we're not rough on stuff. We take care of stuff, and frame still in excellent shape on this planter. We replaced them bushings and the carrying wheels last year. I mean, if this planter needs something, we do it. I mean, planting is the most important thing you do. But I did chuckle with Eric. He thought he was going to tear our old planter to shreds. He said he found two issues, them bushings, and I mean, I knew they was wore, but I did not know. Wait, it's one of them deals, you know, you get in this mentality of, I'm tired of spending money. And I mean, there comes to a point where you got to stop. But it was one of them deals where it'll be all right this year, we'll do it next year. If I had it to do over with again, I would have done these arms and not put the clutches on. I'd have waited on the clutches if I had to do it over with again. And I don't know, we may get to the field and say we love the clutches. He brought us these Schaefer closing wheels. We're gonna put them on one row and run them and try them and compare them to the new Yetter twisters we bought. Brought us these little deals right here. You put your floor jack under and you set your seed depth for 2 inches. Before you go to the field, you can kind of set it. You still may have to make some final adjustments in the field, but this will get you close. I even brought us a hoe. My dang garden shovel. He said don't use it as a hammer working on the planter out in the field. But you know, you got your digger, got your measurements. We want that corn 2 inches. We can dig crossways the trench and see how that seed looks, you know, tucked down in that soil. Eric has started a YouTube channel, and the name of his channel is the Crop Critic, or it might just be Crop Critic. But if you type in Crop Critic, it should get you to him. I told him I would promote his channel and help him out. He's already at 330 something subscribers and only been there 2 weeks. It took us a year to get to 1,000, which is actually above the trend line for most YouTube channels. If you don't mind, go over there, watch his channel. He's done a lot of interesting things. Subscribe to his channel. I had a lot of help on the way up building my YouTube channel, you know. Matt, Griggs Farms LLC, he's gave us several shout outs over the years that's helped that out. And I just want to let you know I appreciate that, Matt, helping our channel grow. There's a lot of good farming YouTube channels. And if you want to know the names of some of them, just message me and I'll let you know some of my favorite channels that I watch. But all right, Eric, there's your plug. We're expecting big things out of your channel. Don't let me down. So let's get on this thing, get it done. Me and Robert's ready to wind it up. We just got plumb fighting mad yesterday over a couple of issues. It seemed like everything was just fighting us. Nothing would go right. It's just little small aggravating things, and I'll show you some of them in just a second. You see this little tool right here? That's a reamer. Well, you ream these holes out on your bracket to allow a bigger bolt to go in to take up some of that slop so everything fits tight. Well, on the videos Precision Planter Solutions put out, they show, oh, you can just use a right angle drill to get in here. Well, I don't know what planter they're working on, but it sure as crap ain't a 7,000, because that right there ain't gonna work. There was one there, Robert and I decided, well, we'll just loosen the wheel frame and scoot it over. And we done it on this one, and it worked. It did work. But on this one right here, this one, we would have to scoot it back over here, and then we'd have to loose that one and scoot it back over there. And then these bottom ones, you got to raise the planter up to get to them, even with scooting the wheel frame over. And I don't much feel like picking the planter up with loose wheel frames. We took this old planter, put this old planter together and took it apart so much over the years. We decided our easiest option was just pull the shafts out, because the shafts go in and out freely. That's enough of my yakking. I'm gonna let Robert keep filming. I'm gonna show pulling them U-bolts out. And then we're gonna pull the old forklift up here, show you how we're catching it with the forklift. There's one bolt down at the bottom that we've got to use the just a regular ratchet on because the clutch and this airbag bracket here. But we've kind of learned that it's better to just leave it on there. I mean, if you took it out, you could use the impact, but we've learned it's easier just take it off with the ratchet and leave this on there, because it makes this unit handle a lot better coming out and going back together. While I'm thinking about it, look at this bracket right here. This is your down force that holds your unit down in the ground. Now, even show them the new one there. You know, even if we didn't do the parallel arms, I think it'd been money well spent just to do, if we done nothing else, to do this airbag bracket where it's holding a constant pressure down on the unit. It ain't just, when we rebuilt, Robert and I was discussing, when we rebuilt this thing in 06 and put new bushings in it, them units, I mean, you need to see them go up and down a little bit, but you know, it was kind of like they was just floating up and down. You can sit up there in the cab and watch the units float up and down. Well, I went back and watched some old videos from last year. You know, that's what, 6 seasons on them bushings. And instead of them units floating like this, they's doing that right there. So what's it doing to our seed depth and our spacing? I think it's just little things we're doing on our farm that we hadn't been doing on our farm that we're going to try to do this year, and hopefully it's going to pay off at the end of the year. I think it's the details. Instead of worrying about getting it done, let's pay attention to the details. And I'll get off my soapbox and we'll go from there.
Right in. Scoop. Pick up. Oh. Try to ease back. Ease back. Alright. Ease, pick it up.
Alright, Robert's unbolted the airbag bracket. Slipping it out, slipping the cross arm out. We got to pull this H arm out. This is a modification we had to buy to run the airbags on our planter years ago in 16. Got this through Pequae Planter, P-E-Q-U-A-E Planter out of Pennsylvania. I think it's a bunch of Amish, but it's if you're interested in putting, if you got a 7,000 planter and interested in putting airbags on it, you got to have that H arm. So he's gonna pull the H arm out of it, and then we're gonna get to work on the arm. One thing I've started doing that we didn't do on the first couple units, throw the strap over it to hold it onto the forks of the forklift, but because the way we got it picked up, it is a little front heavy, but it does You doing it on this forklift makes it really, really nice because you can get it up there on your level. It makes it really handy to put it back on the bar. Beats the old way Robert and I used to do it. Starting out, we used to just manhandle them. But as we become older, we have become somewhat wiser. We normally do these arms one at a time here, because it kind of just helps to hold stuff together. The old DeWalt drill gets the work out. Look here, guys. I mean, check these things out on your planter. I know it's late in the game, but you may want to check them. Alright, I'm going to apply a little cutting oil in these holes. It just helps the reamer. This reamer kind of likes you slower speeds. It does a better job at slower speeds. Now this one right, I don't do it, I have to do it on all the other ones. But this one right here is your hopper support bracket. And normally on this hole right here, I have to ream it just a tad more than the others. But the shoulder of that bolt is gonna fit perfectly inside that hole. And then I got this other lip that your hoppers catch on, and that's what holds your hoppers on your planter. But you gotta ream it a little extra for that. I like to bring it through on this side. Run it through on this side. Sometimes you can take a hammer and just give it a peck and it'll go right on in. See that? I try to make sure that reamer goes through as square as possible. It does a pretty good job finding its way in there square on its own. So here's your arm. Slip it over the bolt. You've got this bushing here. Slip these washers over your bushings. And these bushings are going to go in this hole. And you got two bushing materials rubbing on each other instead of a hard material rubbing against a soft material. So I'm gonna get this guided in. I'll put y'all back in y'all's little happy home. You don't want to tighten it with these impacts, but I mean, I like to just, you can run them in. You can run them in with the impact. Speeds things up. Alright, pull it forward a little. Might have to pop it. Alright, we'll come back in a different step and torque this. We're gonna go do that other side, and then I'll bring you back when we do this bottom arm. Or some special steps and statements we need to do on these bottom arms. Alright, for these bottom holes, these two holes right here are the biggest pains in the butt of all of them. You can see right at where they are, where the nut comes through. So there's going to be a special stud we're going to use right here. But I found that the easiest solution, as you can tell, it's right there where our chain tightener is. And I don't know if you've ever put this chain tightener apparatus together or not, but it is a pain in the butt to get that spring held in place and get all that slipped together. So we took one of them off and we decided there's got to be an easier way. So if you'll slip this gauge wheel off right here, you can get your wrench in here, but you're not going to be able to get it on that because of the way you got to hold the angle you got to hold your wrench in there. You're not going to be able to get your wrench in there without taking this gauge wheel off. But I mean, it's really not that big of a deal. The biggest pain of all of it will be that we'll have to re-shim our gauge wheels. That's the only negative thing about it. So we're going to pull these 4 bolts off and pull this H-arm off right here and get the new one on, and we'll bring you back when we start that process. Sometimes it helps kind of get it moving and then take your nut off. You know, some of these arms and bushings ain't that bad, but others are just plumb crap. It's amazing how things choose to wear. So this is the easy side. That's what I was talking about. See, this is the easy side because get your wrench down in there, but on that side you got that chain tightener in the way. Alright, we're gonna run. It's good to leave one of these bolts in up there at the top, because when you pull this arm out right here, because when you pull that bolt out right there, if you ain't got that arm hung, it'll flop down and hit your hand and make you say not so nice words. Tomorrow's Easter Sunday. I'm gonna have to really go apologize for some of the stuff I said yesterday. These reamers come with the kit. They're pretty good quality things. They sent 2 of them, but I believe one of them would do the whole planter. It's 32 holes you gotta ream. Right here is the biggest pain in the butt portion of it all. You've got to use this special bolt. I've been calling it a stud, is what I've been calling it. And it goes through like that right there. And then you got to put your nut back here on the back side. And what makes it so aggravating, you gotta have the stud pulled out just a little and start your nut. Let me show Robert doing it. Pull your stud out, there you go. And you gotta fumble around there in the dark hole. When it gets it started, we'll have to put some Loctite on it. He can push it on through and then put a Loctite on it, and then we can get that nut tightened. Now this is the portion of the game where strapping that forklift to them forks really makes a difference. Got the old handy dandy torque wrench here set at 145. I really like this digital one, I'm not gonna lie. But we're gonna get these nuts here torqued to 145.
Why 145?
Because that's the magical number they came up with. I'd like to know why 145 myself. I mean, they smarter than I am, they come up with it, but there's kind of a few things I might have changed on it. I know, I kind of like to go on and let it beep a little bit as opposed to just stopping after that first beat. These right here normally take a couple of extra turns because they're also tightening that nut as you tighten. Once you kind of get old Dylan calibrated, I kind of know pretty well where to stop. Like I said, put a dot of Loctite. Man, Robert's kind of with the notion if a dot will do you, 2 dots will really do you. We may regret that when it comes to time to pull them off, but we ain't got time for nuts vibrating loose out in the field. When we go to the field, we want to be planting. Get them on. I know, I bought enough Loctite to last us a century. We're gonna set our old torque wrench to 100. I said I would. These are jam nuts to keep them bushings from backing off. When you get ready to replace these, I don't know which portion you replace. I don't know if you replace all of them or just part of them. So for the next portion of this install, we gotta get our old H-arm over here in the vise. This is for your airbag bracket. Apply some cutting oil. Get this old junky DeWalt drill. And we're going to send it through here. They did not supply this reamer with this kit. I mean, they got them available, but I had to actually buy this one. I think it was like $20-something. The little reamers they supplied with the kit. I'm gonna take our paper towel here. I'm gonna wipe this cutting oil out of these bushing holes. Wipe any shavings out of it. Gonna get it here in the vise, turn it like this, get my handy dandy bushing driver tool here. So I know I'm not driving these bushings all the way down in there with a hammer, but I am getting them started with the hammer. It helps over in the process when we press them in. But I'm putting a little, this is some retaining compound they sent with it. Seems like some pretty dang good stuff. We're gonna have enough of the bottle to use on some other applications. I'm anxious to try it. But I've just put it on where you start it there, where it'll kind of carry it down with it as you press it into the hole. But I just take that bolt and run through it and kind of try to, get it, kind of wiggle it around till it centers up in the hole, and then, give it a couple good licks to seat it. And then we're gonna take it over here to the oak press. Gonna get her lined up. Squared up. Kind of try to get that bracket sitting as flat as possible where it'll push the bushing all the way in. We're gonna jack her down in the hole. Send it. I put a little extra on it on the end that way. It goes on the seats down in there good. That is what the finished product looks like. Get this other side done and we'll go put it on the planter. Here's the most aggravating part of the process, and let me tell you why. When whoever built these brackets, built them some guns about 1/4 of an inch too short. They probably cut this right, but I imagine it drew up when they welded it, is what I figured happened. But what Robert and I do to remedy this is we'll put a washer in between this arm and this bracket to take up the space so that it ain't drawing these arms in like that and binding the unit up. It's a pretty frustrating job, ain't it, Robert, trying to get all them washers fished in there?
Well, just depends on the unit.
Specific to each unit. And then here's another, you got to get this bracket worked in so-so, and look at that one.
Bushing for you.
Bushing for me, bushing for you. They done the same thing on these arms. You got a bushing inside of a bushing. And you know, you saw us drill that hole out and install that bushing where there's another bushing that slips inside of it. So you got a bushing material wearing on bushing material. You got your little funky bolt and bushing that goes down here on the bottom. And they do that, so this is a spacer that Peckway sent. This spacer keeps your bushing from coming out the backside. And this hole right here is oblong. And I mean, it's intentionally like that to allow this bottom arm to float up and down. Don't you be binding your unit up. They don't give a torque spec for this one, so we just torque it to about 15 or 20 ugga-duggas. Alright, Robert's gonna get our air bracket and he's gonna slip it down in here. It makes it a lot easier. To slip it on right now and put the bolt in where that airbag kind of holds it in place versus we tried to hang this unit yesterday without putting that back in. Was going to slip it in at a later time. We was doing that because we was trying to you know, leave all this out so we could get the impact in there easier to tighten these up, but just nothing. Absolutely nothing went right when we tried to do it like that. So we found it's a whole lot easier. It's a whole lot easier for us to put this in standing out here, and it also makes all this line up better when we put it on the planter. One other important note in the instructions, they said that you need to be able to take your finger and spin them spacer washers. You know, so we're good there.
Come in straight. Up, down, down, up, in, up. Ease in just a hair. Oh.
straight. Cotton headed ninny muggins.
How did we fix this that last time when it was? Oh, there. Okay.
Back it up a little. Now stick it in. Jeez. You got it started?
Yeah.
And hold what you got. Right. Let's hold some pressure against it. You ready?
Yeah.
Pop out.
No.
Alright. Take this hammer. Pop it on in. Come on, sing it. There you go. Now it gets that bottom corner good and tight. I'm gonna take this impact and finish driving it home. But in the meantime, I can be hooking my rope clutch back up, my airbags back up. And my starter fertilizer back up. And that's how you install a Precision Planter Solutions parallel arm and bushing kit on a John Deere 7000 planter. Be sure to check out our shop work series. Go to my home page, go to playlist and click shop work. And be sure to check out Eric Ray's channel, The Critic. Like I said, I'm trying to play it forward. Had some people help me along the way, and maybe we can help him. With that, I'm signing off. We're gonna keep working on this old planter, get this last unit done, and then we're gonna start a whole new series on trying to find a leak on the air conditioner on a 4640 probably. Cause I don't want to plant corn in the hot next week.